Welcome back to the show. I've talked about it personally before. I myself have suffered from incontinence since I was born due to a medical situation. It's an embarrassing situation. Creates a lot of anxiety for people, and just like mental health, I think it's important for us to talk more and more about it, and our next guests are going to do just that. We are joined by Louise Miner, founder and inventor of Rip and Go. Louise, welcome to the show. Great to have you here. And we have Jackie Cahill, Executive Director of the Canadian Continence Foundation. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you.
And Jackie, it's a good starting point to talk with you, because as somebody that suffers from incontinence, I know the embarrassment, the shame of it. It's difficult, whether you're young or old. You still get into those situations. What's the goal of the foundation exactly?
Well, what we want to do is let people know that there are at least a minimum of a third of Canadians living with incontinence, and it's a big taboo issue, as you know. People are embarrassed. People
but
need
it shouldn't
to
be.
No,
it shouldn't be, right?
It
shouldn't be. Just like mental illness, everybody should talk about incontinence the same way. It shouldn't be a taboo subject.
Well, there's things like, light rail we've talked about, and I know there's a group here in Ottawa that are trying to make sure that there are washrooms available at all these stops, and their plans are not to have those stops. What's the opinion of the foundation on something like that?
Well, I think there should be public washrooms throughout Canada, like in the UK.
Right.
You can get to the toilet quite easily over there, and here you can't. And there's a thing called toilet mapping, which people do when they suffer from incontinence. They can't leave the house unless they know there's a toilet en route. And I often think about traveling, airplane travel. You know, if you're not allowed to get out of your seat on an airplane, as often you're not allowed to, and you're living with incontinence. That's a big thing that I think, my God, these people, you know, you're stuck in the seat.
Or being pregnant.
Yes.
My goodness. When I was pregnant, I had to be 1 minute away from a bathroom, or I was going to have an issue anywhere I'd go. Yeah.
And with children, this is where this came from. I have children myself, and when an accident happens, oh my goodness, it's just draining. You're up in the middle of the night, your child's embarrassed, they have to change, you've got to change the whole bed. This is where your idea of Rip and Go came to be,
right? It sure did. Like for me, myself, I also suffered from incontinence at different stages of my life. When I was younger, I had deep sleep syndrome, so right up until the age of 7 and 8. I was the only child of 3 that peed the bed.
Nice.
So great for me. Yay! Yeah. So my sisters did a great job of teasing me. And then as I turned into an adult, I had 3 pregnancies, and during each pregnancy, I had to be 1 minute away from the toilet. And even after birth, I had like a good 6 to 8 months of not having control like I should have had. And thank God my husband was just amazing. And he'd be like, okay, you're over there, I'm over here. And he'd keep track for me, so it was transitioned really nicely. But the biggest thing in bringing this product to light was I had my first child when I was 30, which was fine, and then I had my second when I was 40. And kind of like, you know, when you're younger and you go to the amusement park and you hop on that roller coaster and you're like, woo, everything's okay. And then you hit 40 and you try and hop on that roller coaster and you're like, and you're hurling in the corner. It's the same thing for sleep deprivation when you're an adult. So, and I had no idea. So when we had our second baby, I'm in my 40s and I'm going through sleep deprivation, and I am sick as a dog. So I was like, okay, I need to get something, and I was talking to some sleep experts, and they're saying that the only thing you could do is get in and out of that room as soon as you can. So you got to feed the baby, you got to burp the baby, you got to change the baby, and you got to change the crib, and you got to go back to sleep right away.
Right.
And nothing on the market was letting me go back to sleep right away. It was turning into a 45-minute session every night, sometimes twice a night, sometimes 3 times a night. So I was dying. And then I was like, okay, I have to make something. And I decided to make a 2-part system, put it with some Velcro, make sure it was really nice and waterproof so I didn't have to wash down nothing, and just rip it off, put another one down, put the baby down, back to sleep I went. Showed that to moms on the market, and they exploded, especially all the grandmas to be, and they exploded saying, where was this? It should have been around a long time ago. Are you kidding me? And then that went on to, well, I remember sitting on the stoop outside my front door looking at my 2 sisters going, how do they know they have to pee? Because I did not receive that Neuralink that kids got.
Right.
And I was like, what about those kids? So true to my heart, I went and I made the bedding system for them too. And we got emails back and forth from moms going, oh my goodness, okay, my little one's 4 years old. I showed her her little hand